Hi YouTube, welcome in this new react. Today we're gonna react to a video called How China Biggest Scammer Got Caught by Fern. The word coach, I can't pronounce it, so I'm gonna rely on you to not make fun of me and just enjoy the video regardless, right? My accent is very bad, okay? I know that. I know it. Here we go.
UK police have been hunting this woman for 7 years. They're after her,
It's a woman!
but mostly they're after her computers. Laptops that may hold the keys to unlocking the story of one of the biggest scams in Chinese history. A cult of personality, families torn apart, marriages destroyed, life savings gone forever, and at the center of it all, her.
Recently, I've been watching so many videos of people getting scammed by, it's called feeling scam, and people think they are dating someone online, but in reality, it's a scammer that asks them for money and they just pay. And they never met the person and they pay.
The mastermind of a multi-billion-dollar Bitcoin fraud.
This is the story of an operation run from deep within a ghost city.
She scammed Bitcoin, it's fine, I forgive her, no. I'm joking.
A daring escape, life in outrageous luxury, and dreams of ruling an entire country.
No one is feeling bad for Bitcoin. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. Maybe I have like a bad feeling about crypto in general, but like it's not really my thing. I'm kind of like, if someone is gonna talk about crypto, I'm gonna be like, bro, like it's okay.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning in the Chinese
Whatever.
province of Sichuan. For most people, the day begins like any other. But then the ground begins to rumble, and a 7-magnitude earthquake rocks the entire region.
I'm very curious on how this is related to the scam.
Almost 200 people are killed.
Oh.
More than 13,000 are injured. Across 18 prefectures, hundreds of thousands of homes are destroyed. News of the disaster quickly spreads around the world. Donations begin pouring in. The Chinese
Okay, I have the vision. I understand what's going on.
charity One Foundation announces that it will also accept donations in Bitcoin. Within just 2 days, the organization receives a large number of Bitcoins, between 50
Between 50 and 230 Bitcoin? Oh, but at the time, the Bitcoin were not that much money, right?
and 230, depending on the source. In the weeks after the earthquake, Chinese state TV broadcast programs about the cryptocurrency. A program called The Mysterious Bitcoin explains what it is, how it works, and its meteoric rise in worth. China Central Television, or CCTV, also airs an
So wait, that's one of the reasons why the Bitcoin rise so much, because like people didn't know about even it existing. And then it was on news TV because a charity business, I don't know how you call it, accepted Bitcoin donation. Also, talking about Bitcoin, I remember I saw a screenshot. It was like a tournament on a video game. The first place was like 1,000 euros, second place $500, third place 3 Bitcoin. So at the time, the Bitcoin was so low. And I saw that screenshot and I was like, oh my God, imagine you won 3 Bitcoin.
interview with a man who claims he made a 6-figure fortune through Bitcoin trading. He'll later become famous as China's first Bitcoin billionaire. Bitcoin has officially been around since 2009, but in China, most people are now hearing about it for the very first time. Many are
And so it skyrockets.
fascinated, and Bitcoin quickly starts gaining traction nationwide. China's main search engine, Baidu, begins accepting it as a payment method. Soon after, so does the online shopping platform Taobao. Later on in 2013, 2 new Bitcoin exchanges emerge. In the months that follow, more and more people in China start buying the cryptocurrency. This sudden surge in demand pushes the global price even higher. And all the hype will turn out to be extremely convenient for one woman in particular. This is Jimian Qian.
I'm so confused about crypto, I think, because I don't understand how that works. It's virtual money, so you can literally print as much as you want because you don't even need to print it. does not exist physically. And that's something I don't understand.
Her biography is difficult to piece together. A reconstruction is largely based on a detailed profile published by the Chinese magazine China Newsweek. Right now, it's early 2014. Jimian Qin is 36 years old and lives here in Tianjin, a sprawling metropolis with more than 11 million
Bitcoin, there is a specific amount in total, but who decided that?
residents. The city was supposed to keep growing. There were plans for new office towers, luxury apartments, and a bustling financial district. One neighborhood was even expected to become China's new Manhattan. But construction stalls. Many buildings are left unfinished, and parts of Tianjin look abandoned. Some start calling it a ghost city. Wages are low in China, and consumer prices are rising fast. In 2014, the country loosens its business registration rules to boost the economy. Entrepreneurs can now register their companies more quickly, and they need less startup capital. The reforms lead to a massive startup boom. Across China, thousands of businesses are registered every day. But Qin is already a step ahead of everyone else. About a year ago, she and a couple of business
But those people are like evil genius, you know? Like they're so evil, but so genius also. It's actually, you're actually like, oh, whoa, what? What? How do you think of that?
partners founded a company, UBS International Group Limited Hong Kong. At the time, instead of a real name, she uses an alias, Li Xia. The business has partnered with a company that produces and distributes camellia oil. People in East Asia have been using it for things like skin and hair care for centuries. This is what Qian's business strategy allegedly looks like. UBS promotes the camellia oil and advertises group tours to the partner company's camellia production sites. But to be able to actually buy the products, customers first need to purchase a membership. That costs 2,800 yuan. Members who recruit others qualify for extra benefits. It seems Qian
Oh, it's a pyramidal stuff, a pyramidal scam.
herself is rarely seen at the office. Day-to-day operations are reportedly handled by her employees. For a while, business seems to run smoothly. But in May 2013, the Camellia Oil Company ends the partnership. And about a month later, things get worse. The company website starts malfunctioning and third-party payment accounts are frozen. A little later, Qian sends her employees a text message. "Don't worry, I'm collecting money for us." Then police raid the company's headquarters. But Qian is nowhere to be found. Since making her escape, Qian has been extremely cautious. She reportedly even avoids taking the bus to keep authorities from tracking her movements. Presumably, she'd have to show her ID when boarding public transportation. The UBS venture may have been little more than a way to experiment with different business strategies. She'll go on to use much of what she learned here in her later endeavors.
I mean, scamming in China might be the most hard stuff ever. No, there are so many like surveillance and stuff.
And she already has a new idea. One that will forever change her life and the lives of countless others. Maybe you've had an idea recently. Not one that would change countless lives, or at least not one that would ruin any. But each time you want to get started on it, it just turns into a whole thing. Pick a platform, figure out the information, and make it look not terrible. So you sort of give up. We just launched Roots, our newsletter. We've got a talented team, a developer, an idea emergent in the descriptive technology. It's widely known as Lantian Gure, which means blue sky. Qian seems to know exactly what she wants to sell, and to whom. China's home to roughly 200 million elderly people. About 1 in 6 citizens is over 60, and many of them are lonely. In the past, families often had several children. Siblings could share the responsibility of caring for their parents and grandparents.
But that's the problem in a lot of Asian countries. There is too many old people and not enough new young people to work for them. I think I saw that in Japan, 6 young people support 1 elderly. Like that's really not a lot. Oh, was it 2? No, I think it was lower than 6. 6 sounds okay-ish. You can't have more than 1 kid, I think. Oh, that's true. You couldn't have more than 1 kid. Now you can, but back then you couldn't. And people were hiding their child. So there's people that like there's Chinese people that were like the second kids that don't even exist for the government because they were never registered because they were illegal kids. It's crazy, right?
But in 1979, China introduced a one-child policy to help curb its rapid population growth. From that point forward, fewer children were born. Most parents had just one child, who often had to care for the family's older generations on their own. At the same time, more and more younger people left their hometowns to study or work in major cities. As a result, many elderly people were left to live alone. In 2013, the government responded by introducing a new law. Adult children are now legally required to visit their parents frequently and be attentive to their emotional needs. For Qian, elderly people are the perfect target. She
Oh, because the elderly people are so lonely. They had to make a law, but still they are lonely. So like they are super easy targets. Because most of them, there is no one around to make sure they're feeling good and they're okay.
seems to understand exactly how to exploit their loneliness and their anxieties. Step by step, she begins building a manipulative business empire. Step 1. The front.
When they say she's scamming Bitcoin, I was like, yeah, whatever, But now I know she's gonna scam elder people. That I don't like that. You have to be a disgusting human to do that. Like abusing someone that can't defend themselves and that are naive and like easily manipulate is really, oh my God, I fucking hate that.
Qian's company sells a range of health products. One is the Life Bracelet. It has an integrated GPS tracking chip, so whoever wears it can supposedly be located within 15 meters of their current position. In an emergency, an elderly person just has to press the red button and an ambulance will be with them within 10 minutes. The product taps directly into one of older people's biggest fears, being alone and helpless during a medical emergency. That helps build trust in Qian and her company. And if you trust a company with your health, you may eventually trust it with your savings too. Step 2. The plan.
What if you press it by accident? I think you can't really press it by accident. It's like your emergency call on your phone, right? You never press it by accident. It does not exist.
Qian isn't really trying to sell health products. To push her actual business model, she hires promoters all across China. Qian claims that Lanqian Gure is mining Bitcoin, that it's setting up high-powered Bitcoin mines all across China to generate more crypto units. And for that, she needs money.
Wait, but when you mine Bitcoin, you create more Bitcoin, no?
Step 3. The promise. Qian is looking for investors. She probably uses WeChat to advertise and close deals. Apparently, investors can choose from special financial packages. These reportedly range from 30,000 to 60,000 yuan, or roughly 4,200 to 8,400
When they put it in dollars, it's less money.
dollars. The terms range from 12 to 30 months. Often, the funds aren't wired to Qian's firm directly. Instead, investors first transfer them to local promoters advertising the service, who then pass it on to Qian. In return, she promises them daily dividends and a 200 to 600% profit for each contract. Qian and her company seem to have been selling the idea of collective prosperity. Invest for just 3 years and you'll be able to secure the financial future of the next 3 generations of your family. Step 4.
Yeah.
The scheme. Qian skillfully rides the wave of Bitcoin.
You know what? I know already this video I would have struggled understanding in French, but the fact that it's in English, I'm not sure I'm understanding everything that's going on, but it's very interesting actually. And I'm learning new words, so W.
Frenzy. It helps that many of her investors aren't very financially literate. Her company produces glossy promotional videos promising a life of wealth and luxury in the United Kingdom, a country that carries a certain prestige in China.
一个属于光荣和梦
You, the UK, you.
想的国度。
On her blog, Qian posts poems about social responsibility. We must love the elderly with the infatuation of a first romance.
That's why she's evil, because like she knows how to connect emotionally with people, and someone that don't care about other people feeling but can connect with them is like.
Poetry has always been an important part of Chinese traditional culture. Poems are meant to entertain and convey values like respect, family duty, and social order. Maybe that's why Qian's vision resonates with so many people. She also emphasizes that her company would help further China's goal of becoming a global leader in technology. She even claims that she'll one day donate the company to the Chinese government. Her patriotic message lands with investors. But one investor will later claim she deliberately exploited the patriotism of older Chinese citizens. In reality, she went much further than that. It's autumn in Beijing. More than 1,000 people have gathered here today. Many have already invested in Qian's company, Lantian Gure. Others are still considering it. But all of them are here to see the woman.
The problem is that when you get into a scam like this, how do you stop? How do you stop and fly away? You can never stop. The lie is too big. You have to go through the end.
Behind the business. So far, they know almost nothing about her, only that she reportedly holds a PhD in mathematics and cryptography, and that she works so hard she barely has time to sleep. Qian rarely appears in public. She almost exclusively communicates through the poems she posts on her blog. There are barely any photos of her, and in most of them, her face is partially concealed. Even today, she's wearing a veil. Nobody here knows her real name. Her investors call her Hua Hua, or Little Flower. Qian enters in a wheelchair.
And they don't feel like it's a little bit weird? No, like... No one is feeling a little bit suspicious?
Her investors lift her above their heads and carry her toward the stage. They're chanting the company's promise.
Oh la la, it sounds like a cult, guys. It sounds like a cult, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yeah.
3 generations of wealth. Events like this happen regularly, usually inside large, prestigious halls. Attendants usually aren't allowed to bring their phones or take photos or video. Maybe because Qian wants to remain anonymous. After all, she's been trying to stay under the...
Oh, she wants to be anonymous because she cares about the people. She doesn't care about the fame, guys. She's such a good person. She doesn't want the credit of it. She wants to help elderly.
Radar ever since fleeing Hefei. The gatherings are massive. There are dance performances, presentations, and speeches.
This reminds me, you know that in Paris, there is like a Chinese show like this with like dancer and stuff. And in reality, it is a cult. And they do the show all the time in Paris, like once a week, for example, to recruit people into their cults. Do you know about that?
Praising and vouching for the company. One speaker is the son-in-law of Mao Zedong, the late founding father of the People's Republic. Mao remains a deeply respected figure in China, especially among older generations. The atmosphere at these promotional events is frenetic. One investor will later tell The Observer that people...
Did they try recruiting you? Hopefully not, but I watched a lot of video about it because it was interesting, honestly.
Were captivated by Qian as soon as she opened her mouth. After her speeches, people would battle their way to the front with their credit cards ready.
It is just a cult. It sounds like a cult. It is like a cult. People don't think by themselves. They pay. They have like having so much like parasocial relationship with her, like she's a goddess kind of. I think it's just a cult, huh?
Investor says, that bunch of promoters, they'd take something red and persuade you it was white, take something black and convince you it was red. Apparently, there were also private meetings with Qian. Those who invested more than $800,000 were reportedly invited to more intimate events. One attendee says everyone in the room was
She's just a streamer, to be honest. If I can see.
Starstruck. They saw her as their goddess of wealth.
The goods.
Over time, more and more people pour money into Qian's growing business empire. Public servants, school teachers, widows, and retirees. They're all hoping crypto will turn their modest life savings into a fortune. Most are between 50 and 75 years old. By 2017, Qian has attracted more than 128,000 investors across China and collected more than 40 billion yuan, roughly $6.1 billion.
I just need that, to be honest, and I will be happy. You just 1 billion and I will be happy. I will never complain again.
But she hasn't been keeping her promise to use their money to create new crypto tokens in her mining farms. Back in 2014, she used an associate's name to open an account on the Huobi cryptocurrency exchange, which today is called HTX, and she transferred investors' money into that account. exchanging it for Bitcoin.
Because crypto money, you don't pay tax on it. I don't know how it was in China, but mostly like it's very hard for bank and government to track the money you have on crypto. So like if you want, like most of scammers use crypto, I think nowadays.
At first, our investors receive exactly what they were promised: daily dividends. Anyone who recruits friends or relatives gets even more. One investor would tell the BBC he and his wife were receiving 100 yuan a day, roughly $14. They were so hooked, they directly reinvested this into the company and kept borrowing to invest more on top of it. They didn't know that these payouts weren't actually coming from crypto profits. They were funded by new investors. It was a classic Ponzi scheme.
I mean, this scam existed in multiple countries, right? It's like the pyramidal scam stuff, like everyone knows about that, right?
And it only worked as long as new investors kept pouring in new money. One investor would later say he never suspected a thing. After a few years of this, some investors were invited to visit the company's Bitcoin mines, and the trip inspired some of them to invest even more money. Hundreds of investors have traveled from Shenyang and other cities to Tianjin. The outskirts of the city are lined with warehouse after warehouse. One was built on a vacant lot. On the front is the slogan, Tianjin Blue Sky Gure Bitcoin Warehouse. This must be it. But when the investors go inside, none of the mining machines are working. An employee tells them the company intentionally turned them off to avoid exposing them to radiation. Most of the
What happened to the radiation? When I was a kid, they were telling me to not put my phone in my pocket because I will become sterile. What happened to radiation, that the microwave is going to burn my brain and stuff? What happened to all of that? No, but actually it might be super warm in there, right?
investors don't question the explanation. One even leaves the site visit so convinced she decides to invest significantly more money. It's only years later that some investors begin to suspect the machines they saw were actually worthless junk. According to reports, they were eventually sold as scrap for 30 yuan apiece. For 3 years, Qian's operation appears to run smoothly.
I'm gonna be honest, when you type BBC video, I was not thinking of that. And I was like, when is that guy gonna get blow up out of the chat? But then I realized Frost knows, so we good.
New investors keep joining, and their money funds payouts for existing members. But in 2017, Chinese authorities finally get suspicious and launch an investigation. The Bitcoin hype is reaching fever pitch, at least among the Chinese public. By now, the country has become one of the largest cryptocurrency markets in the world. But Bitcoin and other digital currencies are also used for criminal activities like money laundering, drug trafficking, and smuggling. They're a risk to financial stability, and they undermine government control over the fiscal system. So Chinese authorities want to crack down on
BBC is a news platform. You think I know about that? I'm French, bro.
them. They plan to tighten control over Bitcoin mining and trading. From there, they start closing in on Qian's company. Today, the authorities strike a coordinated blow. Raids take place across Tianjin. Lan Tiangure's employees are rounded up, but there's no trace of their boss. Qian has likely been preparing her escape for months. She purchased several forged passports, including one from a Caribbean microstate, and is traveling under a new alias, Yadi Jiang. She also transferred her bitcoins from the Huobi exchange into several private crypto wallets. The wallets are stored locally on her laptop. But as with any cryptocurrency, they don't contain the actual
You can have your wallet just on a computer. Oh, that's what they were saying, that people have their crypto money on USB keys, that they lost the code so they cannot get the crypto they had. A bunch of noob.
bitcoins, just the digital keys needed to prove ownership and access them. At this point, Qian's wallets hold about 70,000 bitcoins. At the time, they're worth almost $400 million.
Yeah, but now
It remains unclear whether Qian knew the raid was coming, and if she did, who might have tipped her off. Maybe she bribed a corrupt official. Either way,
But did the employee knew what they were doing? Like there were multiple people into the scam, or did they not knew at all?
she's on the run for several months, apparently moving from China to Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Malaysia. According to London's Metropolitan Police, she eventually boards a first-class flight from Kuala Lumpur to London.
If you got to run away, I'm not sure London is a good place to run away, if I can say.
On September 16, 2017, she arrives at Heathrow Airport. She isn't carrying any luggage or her laptop. She moves into a mansion in London's affluent Hampstead neighborhood. The rent is more than £17,000 a month. She also opens an account with Harrods, one of the world's most exclusive department stores. Over the following months, she spends more than £90,000 on designer jewelry and clothing.
That's usually how scammers and people that make dirty money get caught, because they love to buy expensive stuff.
She travels across Europe too, but she carefully avoids countries that have extradition treaties with China. She keeps attracting people and getting them to break the law for her.
But she was a mastermind, kind of. Like, she was a Neville demon mastermind.
A few weeks after arriving in London, Qian meets a woman named Jian Wen. Wen is 37 and works at a Chinese takeaway. The two get along well. Before long, Wen moves into Qian's mansion. Officially, she's Qian's caretaker. In reality, she also becomes her trusted accomplice. For example, Qian sends her to Thailand to retrieve the laptop she abandoned on her way to the UK. Once Qian can access her bitcoins again, the two start spending some serious money.
They would just message about like going to buy jewelry, right? Like, we've had a stressful day. They didn't really say that, but
Oh, I had such a stressful day. I need 10 Louis Vuitton bags, guys. Please watch this video so I get rich.
like, once we're done with this, let's cash out the Bitcoin, let's go to Jewelry Street, right? And then the other message was like, obsessed with jewelry.
This is Aisha Down, a journalist with The Guardian. She investigated the story. Wen will later tell the courts that Qian spent most of her time in bed, playing video games and shopping online. As Bitcoin's value keeps rocketing, she seems to be achieving what she once promised her clients, getting rich lying down. She isn't afraid to dream big either. In her diary, she documents her bold plans for the years to come.
But those people are narcissists. That's the problem. Like, they need to show the world they made it so much that they get caught. Like, if you be super discreet, you never get caught. Like she would have never.
Qian wants to found her own bank, buy a castle in Sweden, and build a relationship with a British duke. She also dreams of becoming Queen of Liberland, a small stretch of land between Croatia and Serbia right along the Danube River. The territory isn't officially recognized as a micronation, but its inhabitants consider it an independent republic with democratic elections. Qian has ambitious plans for the 7 square kilometer region. She wants to build a harbor,
She scammed half China, but her dream is to be queen of these tiny lands.
an airport, and the world's largest Buddhist temple. In Liberland, Qian would find herself among like-minded people. Its self-proclaimed prime minister is the controversial crypto billionaire Justin Sun, who founded his own blockchain network. He also controls the Huobi crypto exchange, where Qian used to store her bitcoins. In her imagination, becoming a monarch will entitle her to a diplomatic passport and immunity from prosecution. She even sets aside a budget of £5 million to buy herself a crown and scepter. The sky's the limit. She also dreams of the Dalai Lama
The sky is the limit, guys! Nothing can stop you and your dreams. You should go for it. Look, she made it.
anointing her a reincarnated goddess. But for now, Qian is still here in London, living in a rented house. Among other things, she claims to run a successful jewelry business. To fund her lifestyle, she converts bitcoins to regular currency, but large deposits would probably make her bank suspicious, so she has to conceal where the money really comes from. In other words, she needs to launder it.
So now you open a shop that lost 10K a month and you pretend that you make money on it. Yes, sir. That's why in France, one time I was going to school, and on the way to school, there were a shop of only dishwasher capsule. And in this shop, there were only guys.
One of the oldest tricks in the book is real estate. so she plans to buy expensive properties to turn her dirty money into seemingly legitimate assets. Qian and Wen start looking for the right London luxury home. They make 3 attempts to buy multi-million-pound properties. The most expensive is listed at $23.5 million. But their efforts are hampered by their difficulties converting enough bitcoins into cash, and by British anti-money laundering regulations and their so-called Know Your Customer questions. Questions like these are designed to detect money laundering schemes. The first round of scrutiny often comes from the real estate agent, the second from the bank. Apparently, Wen's answers to these questions are unconvincing, and realtors and lawyers reject her bids to buy the properties. Shortly after, London's Metropolitan Police are tipped off about a suspicious bank account. The money in it is believed to come from criminal activity. The officers decide to take a closer look. Once they have the necessary court orders, they gain access to the account, and their suspicion grows. With reasonable grounds to suspect that the money is dirty, they freeze the account. They also send an email to the account holder. It's Wen. By now, investigators are closing in on her. They know where she lives. They're just waiting for a search warrant.
I'm pretty sure the big scammer will not get like caught, but her associate will.
When they finally enter the house, they find 2 people, Wen and an unknown woman. Lying in bed, she claims her name is Yeri Zhang. The officers have no idea who they're really talking to.
So you don't normally live here?
Yeah.
And where are you from? Where is your country?
I think they believed that she was a sick relative and not the mastermind of a multi-billion-dollar Bitcoin.
I mean, look at her. How can you believe that she's scamming millions of people right there? Like, excuse me, but I would not believe that either.
Fraud.
As they raid the house, the officers find £300,000 in cash and checks. They also seize laptops, memory cards, and a large amount of paperwork. But for the time being, neither of the women is arrested. The police search the confiscated computers and find that they contain several crypto wallets. But accessing the wallets and the cryptocurrency they contain requires the correct encryption keys. In the course of their investigation, the Metropolitan Police eventually obtain them. They find over 71,000 bitcoins stored in 7 wallets. It's the largest bitcoin seizure in British history. But
Like 300k bucks in cash is actually insane. This is the price of a flat. Of a big flat. It's
isn't Qian's entire fortune. In August 2020, police returned to her house for a second raid. But this time, she isn't there. She's gone missing again.
When was the last time you spoke to her?
3 months.
If she had been here today, I would have arrested her.
This time, there's just Wen. The investigation takes its course, and 2 years later, she's arrested and charged with.
But now there is no other options than play crazy. You play insane. You have no other solution. You need to play insane.
Money laundering. In 2024, she's sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in prison. After parting ways with Wen, the fugitive Qian moves into an inconspicuous townhouse in York. Several employees work for her illegally, taking care of her everyday needs. Everyone in the house has to follow a strict set of rules. The staff isn't allowed to use Bluetooth or phones from Chinese brands. They're limited to only certain social media platforms. They can't disclose the house's address or even log into its Wi-Fi network. And they're strictly forbidden from taking photos or videos of Qian. All these requirements are neatly laid out in confidentiality agreements later obtained by the Metropolitan Police. Anyone who breaks the rules faces hefty financial penalties and will be fired on the spot. At some point, Qian also seeks the help of a Malaysian national named Seng Hock Ling. According to Ling himself, the two first met in Germany in 2019. He'll later testify he believed.
There is something I don't understand. How do you find and trust someone for such an evil plan? Like I would be crazy. I would be like, I cannot trust anyone. Like, how do you trust people? How do you find people that would agree and trust? Money? But even with money, you give them 100k, or that's true. If someone give me 100k, I'm not using my
Qian was a
phone.
legitimate businesswoman, but Qian plans to use him to once again launder money. British authorities have seized most of her bitcoins, but she still controls other crypto wallets worth around
Hi King, welcome. We are doing a react right now.
£62 million. She gives Ling money to purchase properties in Dubai in her behalf. But Ling is closely following Wen's criminal trial. By now, he knows that both women have been involved in criminal activity, and maybe he's beginning to realize that he's much more involved in their schemes than he'd like. One day, he starts Googling February 2024.
He got caught because he asked Google.
For 6 years, Metropolitan Police investigators have been monitoring Chin's crypto wallets. The bitcoins inside them are now worth roughly 1.5 billion pounds. In all these years, there hasn't been a single transaction, no indication that Chin has touched her fortune. Until now. She just transferred 8.2 bitcoins to another exchange account. The account is registered in Ling's name, and the investigators embark on a manhunt. They want to know whether Ling and Chin are in touch. The trail leads them to Scotland and northern England.
The problem is you start talking to that person, she offers money and stuff, you accept, you're fucked. You are fucked. You're already fucked. You don't know it, but you're already fucked. My gosh. Oh, mamma mia.
Then one day, Chin suddenly appears on surveillance cameras. By now, they're convinced Ling is working for her. They could move in right now, but there can't be any loose ends this time. They need airtight proof that Chin's bitcoins are tied directly to the fraud case in China. They want to know for sure where exactly the bitcoins came from. A blockchain specialist helps them follow the money through its transaction history to see who received the bitcoins when. Chinese authorities provide them with a list of bank accounts connected to the scam. The investors Chin deceived are said to have deposited money into 294 different Chinese bank accounts. They received payouts from 48 different accounts. With that information, investigators re-examine the electronic devices they seized in their first raid. And voila, many of the account numbers provided by the Chinese authorities
And voila!
also appear on the confiscated laptops. Now the connection is clear.
UK is one of the worst countries for this kind of things. That's what I said when they say she flew to UK. I felt like Thailand was the best option, but maybe they're too close to China.
And Chin is directly linked to the fraud in China. At last, a judge gives the Metropolitan Police the green light.
Why didn't she go to Switzerland though?
And here's something. There's someone inside the house. Moments later, someone kicks in the door to her room.
Police!
After 7 years on the run, they finally found her.
You're under arrest. You're going to be arrested for money laundering, Section 329, Proceeds of Crime Act.
And this time, there's nowhere left to go.
Absolutely.
Chin and Ling's trial ends today.
The fact that they found it the first time and they didn't believe she was related to it is actually insane. She was a mastermind of communication, right?
Hearing is public, but the courtroom is so small that only a handful of people fit inside.
I sat on the floor at one point. There wasn't a lot of room.
Aisha is one of the few
For a court case like this, they got a room the size of my bedroom. What's the point? I don't understand. It need to be oh my god.
journalists in the room. She followed the last days of the trial for The Guardian.
It was just a fairly sober atmosphere.
Chin sits inside a glass dock. From the public gallery, it's difficult to get a good look at her. Throughout the proceedings, she doesn't say a word. Everything she wants to say, she communicates through her lawyer. She remained largely silent when the police questioned her too. Her only statement was that she was the victim of false allegations made by the Chinese authorities. She also felt that she would die soon, and that this had been her last chance to spend some money.
The thing I noticed was that the defense's statements really didn't land at all.
She's in a glass box because she's a fish, and so they put it in an aquarium, put her in an aquarium, so she cannot die during the trial.
And the defense sort of spoke briefly in the last day of the proceedings, you know, talking about how their client had been a model prisoner.
Chin's lawyer later claims that she and her company only ever wanted to help people accumulate wealth, but the reality is different. Some of her investors ended up in poverty. One tells the BBC that he sometimes had so little money left he would have to survive on a single pack of instant noodles for 15 days. Another says Chin's scheme destroyed his marriage and led to him being estranged from his son. Others say they contemplated suicide. Ling
This is so sad, honestly. Like the number of life and family destroyed because of the scam. That's what really is sad, because all the money and stuff, yeah, whatever, you know. But that's, yeah.
is sentenced to 4
It's
years and
not
11
fair.
months in prison. Qian gets 11 years and 8 months.
It seemed like, from my impression of her, that she maybe had hoped things would go a little differently. She burst into tears, or it looked like she was bursting into tears. It looked like she was upset by the verdict.
After the ruling, Qian's lawyer emails a statement to the press.
What did she expect? Like, oh, I did the
Bitcoin
big
pioneer
my
Ms.
bad.
Qian, once the world's largest female BTC
Oops,
holder,
sorry.
accepts her conviction and the mistakes that led to it. Many of her former investors feel betrayed, and some demand compensation. In China, some investors appeal to the Supreme People's Court, the State Council, and other national institutions, not to condemn Qian's actions, but to ask for an explanation as to why her company was shut down. One still sees Qian as the goddess of the crypto world. He would die for her, and he wishes she'd return. We tried to speak to some of the investors for this video, but almost everyone we contacted turned down our interview requests. Only one woman agreed to talk, but she had a condition. We had to promise that we'd help her get her money back. Apparently, a few people did. This article says Chinese authorities used confiscated assets from Qian's company to compensate some former investors. They received a small percentage
I mean, that's what should happen, right? Because the money is still somewhere. Like, it doesn't totally disappear.
of the money they put in. But it remains unclear whether all the victims in China will ever recover their investments. First, they have to prove that they actually invested in Qian's company. And that may be difficult since many deposits weren't sent directly to her, but to the accounts of local promoters operating on her behalf. For now, the seized assets remain frozen in the UK. British law classifies them as recoverable amounts, meaning authorities must first determine whether victims are really entitled to compensation. Only then can the state touch the money. Decisions on the applications are expected later on in 2026.
But there is Bitcoin in the wallet, so that's obviously money, right?
Who knows? Maybe some of Qian's investors will get rich after all.
That's so sad. That's very sad. Well, guys, that was a good react, I guess. I see you tomorrow for another react. Don't forget to follow, subscribe. It's free. Comments, etc. Tell me what video you want me to react to, and I see you tomorrow. Bye bye.